Meanwhile, in the first half hour of the program here on Wednesday, on the 8 o'clock hour, I should say, we're joined now by the Superintendent of the Battle Creek Public Schools, Kim Parker DeVauld. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the time today.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure.
Well, we're still working at the challenges we have, aren't we?
Absolutely. We have those challenges, but we have significant opportunities as well.
Mm-hmm. Some of the latest characterizations of where we stand as we look at the upcoming year and the budget and so on is close to a cliff. How do you feel about that description, and is that accurate?
Well, I wouldn't say that we are on a cliff.
Okay.
I would say that we have some significant challenges facing us and that we have to make some hard decisions very, very quickly.
Well, and some of those have already been made, but I suppose you'd agree that those decisions you made early in your tenure here as superintendent were ones to deal with an immediate situation. Now we're looking a little bit further out, aren't we?
Yes, and we have to have a plan to be a little bit more proactive to get control of our finances. We've had a structural deficit in the district for over 16 years. I've been doing a little historical review of the budget and finance, and we haven't had our expenditures in line with revenue since as late as 2000.
Oh, my. What accounts for that?
And that a lot of that is related to a decline in student enrollment. And so every time you have that decline, you lose revenue. And if you don't make the adjustments to your expenditures in line with that, then you are where we are today.
It might be tempting to think that if an enrollment has gone down, then expenses go down too, but that's not the case, is it?
It's not that simple.
Yeah.
We wish it was that simple, but every time you change your enrollment levels, you also have to think about significant factors related to public employees. The significant amount of schools' budgets are in people. And so we really have to look at what are those required services and make some really conscious decisions about what's necessary and what are the things that we just believe are nice to have.
Kim Parker DeVauld is here, Superintendent of the Battle Creek Public Schools. We'll continue on this tack in just a moment on WBCK 830. WBCK, we're here on Wednesday with Kim Parker DeVauld, Battle Creek Public Schools Superintendent. So that's an interesting point. I mean, we've been losing enrollment for 17 years almost, 16 anyway, and this is a reality with which we deal. And that has affected the budget, obviously. And how have we dealt with it in the past? We've made, as you've noted over the last year or so, we've made some tough decisions. But has that been going on all this time?
Yes, I think we've made some incremental progress towards creating better opportunities for kids and changing the structural deficit. But we haven't done it in a fashion that was rapid enough to meet the demands of that declining enrollment. So over the next few months, we're going to be putting together a citizens budget committee. I'll be asking for different individuals throughout the community to help us with this and thought partner with us, because the significant challenge that we're facing is going to take a lot of us thinking together on how we can create change for Battle Creek Public Schools.
So the significant challenge that you refer to is somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million, isn't it, in the next budget?
Yes, and so we really want to find ways to significantly reduce that. That won't happen in 1 year. That's not what we're expecting to do, but we are expecting to have a plan to do so over the next 2 to 3 years so that we're making incremental progress towards going back to investing in our fund balance so that we can be solvent.
This is a tremendous juggling act because you're looking at the snapshot of now, right? And that's that $3 million piece. And then we're still dealing with a declining enrollment, right? So this could be worse.
Yes, that is one of the current realities that we're facing. So we're going to make some choices that are right now, and then we're going to have to make some choices that will be over time. And again, that's going to take everybody's thinking, from our labor unions to our stakeholders, including our parents, community members, thinking about what are the things that we can do differently, more efficiently, more effectively, without hurting the educational outcomes of the children we serve.
Mm-hmm. So in the last year, we've closed buildings, we've eliminated positions. Are those options still?
Those are absolutely options, and I think I was quoted in the paper as saying there are no sacred cows, and that really is the truth at this point. We really need to do a deep dive into all of the areas that we are spending money and determine what's absolutely necessary to create educational opportunities for our children.
Is this, we seem to hear about challenges in schools, Albion, Detroit, and so on, which, of course, those situations are further along, certainly, than ours in Battle Creek. But is this a common thing? When you look across the country, do you see this in other places prominently?
Especially in school districts that are considered to be urban.
Yeah.
We are grossly underfunded, and that's one of the challenges of the state of Michigan. And there are reports out now that are really highlighting the fact that schools aren't funded adequately, and we don't have the opportunity to go out and raise our prices and increase our revenue. That's different. And so those are challenges that we're faced with, and we need our community, our state, to really invest adequately in education so that our children can be educated properly.
So as you look at those urban districts across the country that have similar challenges that we do, are they reacting in the same way that we did?
I think so. For the most part, we have some similarities, but we can also learn from those districts who have been where Battle Creek Public Schools is currently, right, and they've been able to turn this around. So I am very optimistic about the opportunities that we have, and it's really exciting to be able to reset Battle Creek Public Schools and create change.
How have they done it? What are some of the examples of things that you've seen in other areas that have helped those turnarounds that you referred to?
So they've anchored a lot of their change on a strategic plan, step one. And so we are ahead of the game in that fact, in that we do have a very nicely written document that we collaborated on to create a strategic plan. That's the vision for the district. And districts that have successfully transformed their outcomes have anchored all of their decisions on that. So there are some things that are just nice to do, but if it's not directly connected to the strategic plan, that might be on our stop doing list now.
I see. So they've taken a rudimentary document then and said, here are the basics, and if we're doing something that doesn't directly affect that, it might be too much.
Yes. And another really key factor is the structural imbalance. So if you only have 4,000 students and you still have buildings that are operating as if you have 11,000 students, that's imbalance, and that's not fiscally responsible. So we have to look at the number of buildings that we have and make sure that that's in line with the number of students that we're educating.
Kim Parker DeVauld is here from the Battle Creek Public Schools. We're back with more in just a moment on WBCK. Wednesday, Kim Parker DeVauld is with us a few more minutes, Superintendent at the Battle Creek Public Schools. So, these challenges are not light, but what you say makes sense. That is to say, we're no longer a district of as many students as we used to be, and so we must make changes accordingly. These were difficult pills to swallow for folks in the community at times. Have you seen folks open their eyes a little to this situation?
Yes, I have. And so over the last few months, we did several community conversations where we offered the opportunity for people to understand the why in some of these changes. And so I think it's important to note that although we have these challenges, we've been talking about all of the opportunities that come along with it. And we're celebrating the successes that Battle Creek Public Schools has had over the last year or so. And we want to continue to really harness that as we move forward. So I don't want us to be clouded by these challenges because, yes, they're significant. And, yes, we'll have to make some changes. But all of those changes we're hoping will result in improved, increased, and better outcomes for students and their achievement.
if someone is debating about where to send their child to school and they happen to tell you that, what do you usually say to them?
Come to Battle Creek Public Schools. And why? Because we have a wide variety of opportunities, including all of our students in the elementary school receive art, music. They have a technology class every week, and our PE classes are staffed by wonderful physical education teachers. At the middle school level, we have a variety of opportunities for students, and we also have some opportunities to help students catch up who are behind. We've implemented a middle school transformation program that has successfully improved student achievement, helping students gain 2+ years of instruction in 1 year. And so that's phenomenal. We have an award-winning forensics team and band, and those are some of the reasons that people choose Battle Creek Public Schools. We have a lot to offer. And for those who want to learn more about our programs, I encourage them to come out to the Miranda Park Party. We'll have all of our schools represented. There'll be opportunities to speak with our leaders and to get to know Battle Creek Public Schools and everything that we have to offer.
When is that?
And that's on July 28th. It will be at Northwestern Middle School from noon to 2 with free lunch and lots of opportunities for children and families.
All right. Yeah. Do you find that when we're in a situation like we're in, and as you described it, a lot of urban districts are, that immediately those districts tend to get discounted in the minds of parents who are trying to make a decision about where to send their kids?
That's sometimes the case, and so we have to do a better job of telling our story. And sometimes we are so clouded by those challenges and the changes that are occurring so that people see them as negatives. But really, these are positives. Think about the things that we're doing in Battle Creek Public Schools, like creating academies at the high school, because we're really committed to our students receiving an individualized achievement or system. So we're going to focus on them as students and as individuals. We're also implementing an alternative high school, which is going to be a great opportunity for those students who are not faring well in the general ed program. They'll have another opportunity to ensure that they succeed.
We had the opportunity to talk with a gentleman who will be helping to lead a study for BC Vision of the educational system. And his angle, of course, from NYU has to focus on inequities in schools and try and understand the roots of those. Do you see this helping somehow in the overall challenges we're having?
Absolutely. Whenever we can uncover inequities, that gives us the opportunity to disrupt those patterns. And so any time that we have individuals coming in to help us uncover and to highlight those and then to come up with opportunities to actually address those challenges, that absolutely is a benefit to the students that we serve. And of course, the BC Vision project or program right now is designed to make sure that we have equitable opportunities for every child in the Battle Creek area. And that's my vision. So I'm really excited about the opportunities that they will provide.
His viewpoint was not whether or not school districts have inequities, but to what extent. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. So you're going to find inequities in all of the educational programs that you find throughout the state. But what we want to do is say, yes, we have them. Now what are we going to do about it?
Okay. Well, we'll stay in touch, and we appreciate the update as always.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Kim Parker DeVauld is the superintendent of the Battle Creek Public Schools.